Then someone said, "Hey, aren't you two related?" And I said, "Yes, we are. She's my stepsister. Now back off and be nice." I nodded yes and quietly helped her walk away. I said no, that I didn't know who she was. I mean, she appeared to be okay with it. Well, she didn't tell him the truth either. She just looked at me, crushed. I mean, I couldn't believe what I had done, but you gotta understand, I mean, the girl's weird. And what would it do to my reputation if people knew? I mean, one of my friends looked at me and said, "Is she related to you?" Like he was concerned. I mean, like he cared. I shook my head. And then he called me a liar, and I have no idea why.
Well, here's the story. One day, I was working out at the gym. Working on my car. I was hanging out with my girl. Fine, I was in home ec class. But I make a mean creme brulee. So this day in home ec class, we were making quiches, and I burnt my quiche really badly, and I got an F. So I was really upset about it all, and I asked some buddies to come over to my house. Well, my parents weren't going to be home that night, and they weren't going to be home until really late, so I knew that we were going to be home alone for a long time. It was just supposed to be a mellow night. My intentions were just to play video games. I didn't even remember that we had alcohol in our garage. Okay, well, I knew it was there, but it wasn't like it was stealing or anything. What's one person's in my family belongs to everybody else. And my parents want me to be happy, so I just thought this would make me happy. And so, I knew it was stealing, but I just wanted to be happy. So my parents came home and they busted us all. They called my friends' parents and they all came to get them, and all the parents were upset at us. But the next day at school, it felt great. Everybody was talking about our awesome party.
Okay, so like I said, I'm Chrissy and I'm a liar. But if I'm being totally honest with you guys, that's not really the root of the problem. If you think about it, why do we lie? It's rarely because of another person, right? So it's rarely the result of the one that we're lying to. It's usually because we're trying to protect our own selves. The fear turned into lying eventually because I was so afraid of what was going to happen that I would lie all the time. I wanted to be perfect, and I wanted to be the one who nobody had to worry about. Everybody could count on Chrissy to just do a good job. I remember in 5th grade, I would go to school and be like, if I didn't get perfect on this homework assignment, I'm just not going to turn it in at all. It's not going to be a problem. I really had this horrible fear of not having perfect grades. And they found out about it when I was in 5th grade. And my mom came in and had a meeting with my teacher, and they asked the teacher, my mom was like, "I've seen Chrissy do her homework. What is going on? How is she feeling?" And they took my notebooks and my backpack and went through my cubby at school and found out that I had done all of my homework and figured out the problem, that I just wasn't turning my homework in. Lying to my parents, lying to my teachers became a really big deal in my life. The lying and the fear of not having perfect grades and not being perfect eventually actually turned into cheating. And I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what I did because I don't want to give you all ideas. But what I did was really bold and really risky, but it's also really successful. And I always knew that it was wrong, and it always felt really bad, but I had a lot of pressure. And most of the pressure was pressure that I put on myself, and that I thought that other people were putting on me as well. But it didn't matter. I couldn't take the pressure that was going on in my life. So cheating became a really big problem. And cheating eventually led to a temptation, to steal. And at first I did steal kind of little things, my mom had a jar of quarters, and so I would kind of sometimes take her quarters and go steal them and go get a soda or something, which I didn't really consider that big of a deal. But I always was if I saw something that I wanted, I'd be like, I don't have the money, I'm never going to have the money to get that, so I'm just going to take it. And I always thought about it, but I never had the courage to do it. And I'm so thankful that I never had the courage to do it. So I really did have this temptation to steal. I always knew that these things were wrong, but I always felt like all of these things in my life built together and worked together, and that I didn't really have a choice. But here's the deal with sin. Sin builds on sin. So it's time for us to stop focusing on the sin in our life, the sin of stealing or cheating or lying. It's time to stop focusing on all of those things and to start really focusing on the virtues in our lives. Who do we want to be? To focus on faith, hope, love, generosity, and trust, just to name a few.
Love is a virtue, and it's one of the theological virtues. The theological virtues are faith, hope, and love. And those three things are not something that you can help develop. They're given to you. They're given to you at your baptism. They're given to you at Mass. They're given to you every single time that you try to contemplate God. They're infused into your soul. All the virtues build on virtue. And all sin builds on sin. And if you concentrate on the virtues, the sins will be destroyed by the virtues.
Write your love on my